Hi there, and welcome to Devlog 10. Last Devlog I was talking about the need for variety, and that was going to be my focus point for the next few months. And it was. Through that goal of variety, I've been working on adding a lot of enemies, because that was for me the first most important thing, variety in enemies. And once I got all of them lined up, as you can kind of see here in the background right now, I started to think, how cool would it be if I have actual zones or biomes on the map where they kind of fit together. So I arranged the enemies. I kind of found a pattern in the biome zones I could make, and I started thinking. And that's pretty much what I've done. I've introduced one more thing to the game, which I didn't actually think I was still going to do, but I'm glad I did it, because this adds a lot of variety. Take a look. So 7 biomes in total for now. The first 2, the forest and meadow one, they're very similar still, so I'll try and see if I can diversify that up a bit in the future. But I'm really happy with the variety here. This allows for islands to be more and more unique, considering that every island will have a max of 5 biomes selected. So first playthrough you already miss out on 2 entire biomes. So you need to replay in order to get a chance of seeing all of them. So that's really cool. Yeah, and I'm not going to show off too much, of course, because I want it to be a surprise when you actually get to play it. But yeah, I'm happy to show this right now. But that's not the only thing I've been working on. There's actually been quite a few other things that have taken up my time, and one of which you might have already noticed by just looking at the new footage. I've been investing a little bit in post-processing effects, something I know nothing about. So I've looked up a few tutorials. I've enabled the most basic stuff, to be honest, not even that much. Right now I'm running anti-aliasing, FXAA I believe. I was looking into Bloom. I might still do a little bit of it, but I'm hesitant with that. So yeah, maybe if you have advice on that, please leave a comment. Other than that, LUTs. So just they changed the color palette a little bit, or the vibrance of the colors. I really like it. I really think this is a benefit to the game. So happy with that. But again, I'm not an expert in this at all, so if you have any advice on this, please leave a comment and I'll take it to heart. Next up is combat. Done a few things here. I've added some weapons, but I'm not going to go into that right now because it wasn't that much. But I've refocused a little bit on shields. I've been really focused on just like normal melee weapons and staffs. So what I've done for shields right now is just add the ability for NPCs to wield them, which is really nice. So yeah, next focus is going to be just more utility for the shields, but yeah, it's nice to have the NPCs wield them as well right now. Other than that, for combat, I've looked into healing because I started to die too much during playtesting. So I've added a very basic soulslike heal animation. It's not really tied to a X amount of bottles yet. That would be really easy to add. But for now, I'm happy that this is in here. Next up is quest generation. This was actually something I believe I mentioned 2 episodes back. This kind of led into me completely focusing on revamping the saving and loading system, which is the second quest in the main quest line. I needed to back then save, or have the ability to completely save quests, which by up to that point I was still completely regenerating them. But having all that now, I was finally able to focus on a main progress manager, which I've set up, which is kind of tracking how far the player is within the main quest line and adjusting the world situation to that. First thing now was checking whether they had finished the first fetch quest, and if so, a follow-up quest would be generated. And while I was working on quests anyway, I wanted to have this new quest in the quest line use something I hadn't made yet before, which is the support of placing items in dungeons linked to points of interest. So what I could already do was have quests generate an item at the point of interest itself. So have a chest there that's already there be filled with the quest item, or generate a chest. But the dungeons would be completely ignored. And that is now actually utilized. So the quest can pick the dungeon and then either decide whether the boss of the dungeon is killed, it will drop it, or just place a chest at the end of the dungeon if there is no boss. I've also done some work on the UI, quite a bit actually. Because I'm focusing so much on getting the demo finished, I really needed to have full controller support again. Because initially I was working on that, but because it was playtesting wise easier for me to just focus on keyboard and mouse, it kind of got snowed over. So now I'm really focused on the controller again, and for that the entire UI had to be compatible with that, which was quite the pain in the butt to say the least. But I think at least the basics are all in there right now. So the entire menu is usable with the controller. Sometimes it's a little bit funky still, so I'll definitely need to finalize it. But yeah, the basics are here now, so that's really good. And because of those changes for the controller, I also kind of revamped primarily the weapon inventory screen. It kind of resembles now a more classic inventory screen where you get the selection of the body, where you want to select either your weapons or your armor. Armor is not supported yet. That will probably happen in the next devlog. But at least the weapon is selectable now, can be changed. And from here on, you can also go to the combat effect, combat sigils menu for both staffs and for melee weapons. I've also done something completely different these last 2 months related to the game that I've never done before, which is attend a game developer conference. I went there with the full intention of networking, which I've also never really done. So that was quite the experience. Went pretty well. It was fun. Talked with some game investors, game scouts, and got some good feedback. I went there just to experience how it was and to do it for the first time. I absolutely did not have the expectation of being picked up yet. But the comments I got were pretty positive. The main feedback I got was I'm missing a demo, which I know. I've been saying that in the last few devlogs. That's why I'm focusing so much on it. So that's good to know, that I know what to do, where to go. And yeah, it's not necessary. I don't need investors. I can finish the game without. But to be honest, if it is a possibility to get some money back in the game to finalize it, that would really help. So yeah, I'll keep you guys updated on that going. That's it for this time. Next time is a lot of focus on the intro sequence, as mentioned before. I want to have 3 quests at every start of a playthrough. And a big focus there is going to be the follower mechanism, which will be using the charisma attribute. So that's going to be a focus. Other than that, combat, of course, I say this every devlog, but I definitely mean it. More combat focus again, more variety in the combat effects, and more focus on loot drops, which I've been kind of pushing away a bit, but yeah, that really needs to happen now. As always, thank you for watching. Please subscribe if you haven't yet, and leave a comment, and I'll see you next time.